Street, parcel 6-27-676.1, owned by Roger Berg, potential planned unit development district, PUD rezoning request, and we will take initial staff comments.
So I won't get too far into detail on this since Roger's here to talk about it a little bit, but he's looking at a few different options for the property that is included in your packet. No, those I didn't include those. One of which is potential rezoning to a PUD. That's one of the options that he's looking at. And the first step in any PUD action is concept discussion with the Plan Commission. So really it's somewhat informal in that anything that you say is simply advisory. Anything that Roger brings up is conceptual in nature, and non-binding on both sides of the discussion. Really just to both sides to get a feel of how each wants to move forward. And I guess I'll let Roger get into a little bit.
Well, this is the old Public Works garage, the city garage. And we're back when I acquired it. It was on the trade with the city to put them in their new Public Works garage. This was a property I traded in with a couple others. At that particular time, the property was not in the floodplain. Then the DNR enlarged the floodplain. And in doing that, it made it difficult to develop the lot because we can't get any lenders interested in financing. Because the floodplain is a problem. Now they say, well, you can always get floodplain insurance, but it's very expensive and makes the project prohibitive to do. We have a little single-family house on the corner of Franklin Street and South Union, and it's I think it's something like $200 a month for floodplain insurance. But when you get $600 rent, it doesn't leave a lot for taxes and payment. Now the estimates I've had on this is it could be as much as $800 to $1,200 a month for floodplain insurance. And the floodplain insurance is only if Adams Creek tops its bank, comes way over there and floods everything. Now if I don't have floodplain insurance and that happened, I would take a loss. But I guess I'm willing to take that chance for where the property's at and everything that's in between me and so on. Now, in looking at it, the part of the property is all of the floodplain. So if you look on the let's see, I guess either of the maps, the one calls where there's a lot 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 4 parcels. Lot 3, the biggest lot is out of the floodplain, except for the entrance. But the buildable part is out of the floodplain. Where it says proposed building, there's an area right there that's out of the floodplain. The 2 existing buildings are in the floodplain and I can't get them off. So now the problem is, we've been working on this for maybe close to a year maybe. The problem is that to build on the back part of the lot that's out of the floodplain, if you've got any structures in the floodplain, you got a floodplain insurance. So the only way we found out from Combs is we need to divide the lot. Now, we met with Ben a couple different times on this project, and our ideal choice is a certified survey map of the 4 lots. And then they all have a separate parcel, they all have a separate deed, they can all have a separate mortgage. And on that example, we could not, it would be prohibitive to mortgage lot 2 and 4, because those are the 2 that are in the floodplain. But the lot 1 and 3, we can get out of the floodplain and won't need floodplain insurance. So that's our perfect choice. Now, Ben did give us the technical on it and told us that he thought we were asking for quite a bit. Because when you look at the variances we need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 6 variances. I think it was 6. For the 4 different parcels. And we'd have to go to the Board of Appeals to get that. And what Matt and I are together on this project, Matt Brown. What we decided to do is come and just talk to the Plan Commission and get some direction if we can get some on what to go. Because we've got 81,000 square feet, that would be just under 2 acres of industrial zone land that we can't do anything with. And we have one site that we can do something with, but it's part of the big parcel, so we can't do anything with. And the variances we need, I don't know if the commission would like me to go through those, I can, but they're right out of the code. Now, we gave 2 options. We had Ron Holmes draw this up. The second option, we need 1 less variance. We need 5 instead of 6. So, I guess if we're gonna go for it, we guess we'd rather go for the 6 than the 5 and get, because that the other option where there's 3 lots, we still have a problem with the proposed building site. That's out with the existing buildings in. So then we have the same problem with floodplain insurance. So I guess, I don't know how far you can discuss this, but we knew that even if we went to Board of Appeals and we were able to pass it, assuming we could, we have to come back here anyway. So we thought the other option that Ben brought up was planned unit development. Because he said then you don't have the variances, but you still have the Plan Commission to tell us if they're going to accept it or not. And there's a sentence in the code that says the Plan Commission can hold you to a higher standard. We don't know what that means down there. Now, anybody that's driven down there lately, you can see that we really did a nice job in fixing up the old Public Works building. We insulated that, re-sided it, and it really is quite an improvement for the area down there. So I guess we're open for questions or discussion.
So a little bit more background. As far as the PUD, that would essentially allow almost a custom zoning ordinance. So it would be like rezoning the property, except it would be even more detailed in that there are a few different levels of approval that both Roger and the Plan Commission would have to go through, including a public hearing. And one of the criteria that Roger brought up that's in the planning and development is that the commission, in exchange for granting some flexibility with the planning and development as far as lot sizes and setbacks and all the things that you would have to get variances for if it proceeded under the I-1 zoning. In exchange for that flexibility, the commission would, under the ordinance, hold the development to a higher standard of architectural and site planning and all of those types of things. And language in the ordinance is somewhat vague in terms of what that higher standard entails, and given that in my 18 or so months with the commission, we haven't dealt with the PUD. Possibly one of the things you could start to get into is what you may expect to see if Roger were to proceed with that path instead of going to Board of Appeals first. If Roger did go to Board of Appeals, as he mentioned, the project would still come back to Plan Commission for both the site plan and the CSM. So, that would not preclude any Plan Commission feedback on the maps that are options that are laid out before you in that land division.
One of the things on PUD, we'd have to be assured that the PUD would create separate parcels so that they're mortgageable, and that we wouldn't be a condominium. Because the next thing worse than floodplain is condominium to try to get money. The banks just do not want to do it.
Roger, you've got 4 lots, and if I recall, lots 2 and 4 are the existing buildings, which are in the floodplain, right?
Correct.
And so your proposed lot 1 is out of the floodplain. And
Yeah, the line kind of goes right around there, Bill. It's the craziest thing, but that's on the FEMA maps.
Yeah. Now, what are you planning for this proposed building 1? What are you
Well,
planning for?
what we had when we started on this project, before we ran into all the hurdles, repair shop that would rent the building if I built it.
Mhm.
But I can't commit to him because we've been talking about this for 8-9 months. And he is, may still be interested, may not be. He says he's going to Oregon because I couldn't find anything for him, so I don't know.
Sure. Lot 3 is like, looks like a perfect shape and size and location for a light industrial lot at that location. It's buried, it's got access, and it's buildable and things like that. Lot 1's got, frontage on the Union Street, and whereas 3, anything you build on 3 is gonna be buried. I don't know, can you actually see anything that's close by?
No, it would be a good business site, no, I agree with
Yeah.
that. Industry site.
Industry site,
Yeah.
and
It'd
such.
be a real good site because they normally don't wanna be seen.
That's right, that's right, and such. Because it's an industry site, and because just to the north of you, you have some residential areas over there, and such, this higher standard that you're referring to, I would immediately point to the fact that we would need some, extra landscaping to provide shielding between
Well,
you and
right
it.
to our north, Bill, is property owned by Greg Helgeson, and that's I-1 too.
Oh,
So see, there's another I-1 north of me.
the parcel 627-354?
No, 627, 676.
It does take a bit of a dog leg there, a portion of it.
Now, the dog leg part does go to residential, and I have to buffer off of that.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I know that.
Right, you could heavily buffer
Yeah.
that, a little bit more than the standards that we have listed.
Now, to the south of me is the city,
Yeah,
Oh,
salty,
so-
yeah, there's
and
nothing,
they've already put up a beautiful chain link fence.
yeah,
So the security is good, they have that there. Now, to the east is the back end of a residential lot, so I'd have to do something there and something to the north, where the dog leg is.
exactly, and that's the area you have to beef up in your landscaping.
Mhm.
With lot 1 being on Union Street and such, and being facing it so closely, I could envision, tougher architectural standards in terms of.
Well, we got something like some split face block on halfway up the front, like we've done on Water Street on a couple of those buildings. And, something that's reasonable that the tenant can still afford to occupy, and we can still afford to build and lease out. Now, this is not a, prominent area, it's almost a second tier business area.
Right, well, it'd be nicer to bring it up, standards up in that area.
Well,
too.
that's why we've done the Public Works building and the old Water and Light building.
I
and
mean, aren't you
actually-
across the street?
Pardon?
Don't you have buildings across the street too?
Well, the old Water and Light building, we've completely
Right.
renovated that with new windows and roof and tuck pointing, because that was a structure that needed some, well, that was a historic structure, so we maintained it that way.
That's all I have for now. What's your thoughts?
Other questions, comments?
So what I'd like to do, I think, is we'd like to go to the Board of Appeals and see if we can pass. But we don't wanna spend, that's, quite a few $100.
I think it was 300.
300. And then we have to come back here. But we thought it'd just be appropriate, come and talk to you. And if you say, wow, we don't like any of this, we don't wanna waste our money.
So I don't know if there's a preference that the commissioner, any specific commissioners want to express as far as the PUD, or if your consensus or feelings would be that it'd be more appropriate for the Board of Appeals to try this first before potentially considering the PUD. I don't know if their preference one way or the other is.
Where does it go to the Board of Appeals?
Well, if the variances are applied for, those would need to be acquired really before proceeding with any sort of CSM submittal.
Now, if we want PUD though, it only comes here.
Right, it would only come to the
I
planning
guess
commission.
then reassure me, do I end up with separate parcels?
That's a PUD would allow you to do that.
Well, see, that would be better than trying to burden the Board of Appeals with the precedent of issuing 5 or 6 variances.
What are the variances? I'm interested to know
He's
the
got
variances.
setback issues all over.
Yeah, all setback
I got
type
here.
things?
Sure, if you want to read
All
lot.
right, lot area 40,000 square feet. Minimum width 200 feet. Minimum street width 50 feet. Now see, we may make it on a couple of them, but then we lose it on another one, on
Yeah, I
the
see
four.
that, yes, yeah,
Rear building to rear 30 feet, we lose that on one of them.
yeah, four.
And blacktop 5 feet from the side. You can't blacktop 5 feet from the side, so if you took lot number 2, we'd have to tear out a 5-foot strip on each side of the driveway, because right now it's all blacktop.
Up to the property line? Is that right? Okay.
And see, that wouldn't make any sense at all. And then if we can't show enough parking on lot 1, then we'd have to have a variance for shared parking and a cross easement.
Well, actually, shared parking could be achieved just with a covenant.
Okay.
So, there still need to be something in place, but you wouldn't need necessarily a variance for that.
So developing lot 3 is a big hangup then too, because it's
It's trapped.
variance lot, yeah, okay, and trap. Yeah.
My experience is that PUDs can be a win-win for both the developer and the city. And this looks like a perfect example of something that would be a win-win scenario.
How many PUDs has the city had in recent?
Well, no applications since I've been here.
Well, in the past 5 years, none, I don't think, but.
On the map, I think there's 3 of them.
Mariana?
There's been a few of them.
Oh, 4, sorry, I see 4 on the map. In total. So, not a common occurrence, but it is an avenue that's available to you when you're